Hello, everybody. This is Civil Authority. My name is Rick Hidalgo, and this is the channel that exposes to you the truth about who you are. Hello, this is the Civil Authority Network. My name is Rick Hidalgo, and this is episode number 8. And today we're going to talk about a common misconception out in the Patriot community. We're going to talk a little bit about the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments to the Constitution of the United States, and exactly how they affect you, particularly in the mode of voting or as a voter. Because what I'm going to bring to your attention today is that voters, as far as the right to vote, that really didn't come to fruition until the 15th Amendment. That's the first time that we're told that we have this thing called a right to vote, and it addresses a particular status in the 15th Amendment, which is something I want to cover because I think everybody's missing this, and this is very important. Without the 14th Amendment, there could not be a 15th Amendment, not just because of the fact that it's the 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendment. Yeah, there's subsequent amendments. I agree with that, and I hope we all understand that, okay? But also because the 15th Amendment, the wording of the 15th Amendment, actually it gets set by the 14th Amendment. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me get to that. Let's look first at the 14th Amendment as it's written in the Constitution for the United States of America. And I'm going to read it for you right out of here. Section 1. This is the section I really want you to pay attention to. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are lowercase c citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So there's a duality, okay? No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of lowercase c citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws within its jurisdiction. And I want to point out the term citizens of the United States with the lowercase c. This term is actually, this is the first time it occurs in the entire Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution, the original Constitution and the original Bill of Rights that were, the first 10 amendments that were ratified in 1791, never does that appear. Okay? Now, the term United States is used in a couple of different jurisdictional ways. One, there's a territorial application, and two, there's an application which means the 50 states. Well, at the time it wasn't 50, but you know what I mean, the states in union. Well, here's the issue. What happened, and we have to go back to the 13th Amendment to fully understand it, because this all came about after the Civil War. Civil War was the dividing point for this entire problem here. So let's go to the 13th Amendment quickly and read it. It says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. And again, there's the words United States used. So the question is, which United States are they talking about? Remember, there are multiple applications to the term United States. There are the Union of States, United States, and then there's the territorial function of the United States, Guam, Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., the territories. Okay, so there's that first question. Okay, what exactly did they mean? And then, of course, Section 2 says Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Now, why is that? That's because Congress was giving itself a power that it had not already received or wasn't granted to them by the original Constitution, by we the people. We did not grant them that authority. So we have to take it under advisement that they must be operating under the power which is presented in Article 4, Section Section 3, Paragraph 2, which basically says that they have the jurisdiction, they have an unlimited jurisdiction to make laws for the United States. That's the territorial application of the United States. But a territorial application doesn't apply to the citizens of the states. So there's a separation between the citizens of the states and the citizens of the United States. A territorial versus a state citizen. So this is a very, very, very important jurisdiction. There's a duality to law. The 14th Amendment almost made it sound like that they created the duality. First, you're going to retain your state citizenship if you ever had it to begin with. If you had it to begin with, you're going to retain your state citizenship. So the equality under natural law is there. But at the same time, we're going to do something. We're going to create some kind of entity called a lowercase c citizen of the United States. And in that creation, we're going to create a duality so that there are two different entities interfacing at the same time. Okay? But we're going, and later on, you're going to see that they made one surety for the other. So we'll get to that, okay? But probably not on this broadcast. This one is to point something out to you that's very important, because many of you out there are registered voters, and you think you're doing the right thing by being a registered voter. But I want to point out to you why it may be a dangerous thing to be a registered voter. Let's go on to the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment, which was one of the amendments that was forced upon the reconstructed states of the South, it was forced upon them. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were forced upon them before they could rejoin the Union. I want you to look carefully at the way this is constructed, the 15th Amendment. The right of lowercase c citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States. Again, which one are we talking about? Or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Okay? Now, that sounds like a wonderful amendment, like it's giving freedom to people to vote. But what I'm here to advise you is that we already had a natural right to vote. We own the country. We, the people, collectively, the landowners, the property owners, had already a natural right to vote. We voted as electors in elections. They called it the Electoral College. Now, they found that the Electoral College was not befitting. So they did away with the Electoral College, and they brought the electors together state by state. Okay, so that makes sense. We don't have any issue with that. That was the 12th Amendment. You can go read that for yourself. But the 13th which was ratified in 1865, I believe. Let me check that real quick. The 13th Amendment, 1864. Okay, so this was after the Civil War. Okay, in 1865, the Secretary of State William Seward proclaimed the adoption, and it was the first of the three Reconstruction Acts, okay, Reconstruction Amendments adopted by the following, or following the American Civil War. So you see, there was an agenda behind the Reconstruction that happened after the war. Now, whether President Lincoln was stuck in some of that stuff, and maybe he was planning on doing it a little different, and because he didn't do it the way the banks wanted it done, or there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there, but he was put down. He was put down for some reason, and I've got to think it has to do with these three amendments. These three amendments that were forced down the South's throat, and in order to rejoin the Union, which it was either rejoin or die, basically, because financially they wouldn't have made it. They couldn't have made it without being a part of the states and union. So here we sit at a place where the United States territorial application creates a new brand of citizen called a lowercase c citizen of the United States. They keep the duality of the state citizenship and this 14th Amendment citizen. That's what we're going to call it. Then they turn around and they say, okay, now the citizen of the United States, this new creature that we created, we give them, we recognize they have a right to vote, and that, you can't abridge that right. You can't abridge the right. They have a right to vote. Okay, now, see, they didn't really have to tell us we had a right to vote. We already knew that. Those who had stake in the land, we the people, always had a right to vote. We are the electors. We had a right to vote. So why did they have to come up with a subsequent amendment that clarified that everybody had the right to vote? Well, we've been dumbed down to think that it was because of the freeing of the Negro, okay? That the black man now had opportunity to vote, so that because he had the opportunity to vote, they had to clarify it. Well, there may have been some substance to that, but the fact is, read the 14th Amendment again. From here on out, from this day forward, every person born in the United States, and there's another trick in the United States. What United States are we talking about? So where are they perceived to have been born if they were born in the United States? Were they born in one of the states that were constructed through the Reconstruction Acts? Or were they born in one of the states that existed prior to the Reconstruction Acts, one of the states in Union? So now not only are there states that are de jure, true, lawful jurisdictions and states, but now there are unlawful, de facto 14th Amendment version of the states. That's depicted by Capitis Diminutio Maxima. When you see it on paper, it'll say the state of in all capital letters. The state of Florida, the state of Georgia, the state of Alabama, the state of South Dakota. You'll see it just like that. These are 14th Amendment creations. And then each of the 14th Amendment creations created estates that were similar to the name of those who were born in the states. Okay? And so there's this duality. There's this constant duality. There's two of you. One of you, the flesh and blood, is born in the state without the United States, meaning the territorial application doesn't apply to you. But then there's the other creature, the one that they registered just days after you were born, which is signified by the registration date on your birth certificate, that estate, okay, is part of the estate of the state you were born in. And it is under the laws, the probate laws, the civil laws, the statutory laws of the state that you were born in or the state that you reside in. So they're using trickery with the term residence. They're using trickery with the term United States. They're using trickery with all kinds of terms. The term person is a huge trick. The term person can be anything. Any kind of entity is a person. A corporation is a person. Everything's a person. So this is what I'm trying to get across to you. If you are a registered voter, this is prima facie evidence. Okay? Absolute evidence that you are a 14th Amendment citizen. You are not an elector. You are a 14th Amendment citizen, and you are operating within the capacity of a 14th Amendment citizen and voting for a 14th Amendment representative and a 14th Amendment president. You are voting in the territorial elections, not in the state elections that you thought you were voting in. So I want to put this out for all of you to begin to let it sink in. Go study it for yourself. Go figure it out. Look through the U.S. codes and look at the definitions and figure it out. You'll see the United States has a multiplicity of definitions, and it's going to be real good for you to go and do that study yourself. You'll feel very accomplished by doing it, but trust me, this is not legal advice. This is the truth. I've gone out, I've researched it myself, I have the time. Trust me, I got way too much time on my hands, still looking for that thing to do. So I want you guys to benefit from this. So if this benefits you, pass it on. Pass it on to someone else. Let someone else get the education that they need so that they can move on with their lives as well. It's time for us to exit this Babylonian 14th Amendment citizenship stuff. It's time for us to move away from that and get back into our republic where we belong, under the laws of nature and nature's God. Okay, that's the laws that are supposed to apply to us. This trash about, statutory, civil laws, all that stuff, these probate laws, we need to get out of there. Okay, they don't apply to us. We don't need them. We already know what's right from wrong. We have that nature. Okay, it's been placed in us. It's in our hearts. We need to move forward. So with that said, I want to say God bless America. God bless you, and see you next time. Bye-bye.